A new Diablo 4 video just popped up on my feed today. Diablo 4, The World of Sanctuary. Honestly, I didn't think we'd be getting something quite so soon after the news we got this weekend. Um, and I know we're having there's going to be a stream, a Diablo 4 stream, I think next Tuesday. But anyways, hey, I'm all for it. So this is Diablo 4 inside the game, The World of Sanctuary. I'm just going to watch it, react to it, maybe pause and just give my thoughts on things. Here we go. Let's do it. I'm excited. I am so antsy for Diablo 4, man. Here we go. The World of Sanctuary.
Sanctuary is the world in which the story of Diablo takes place, and it's the battleground for the souls of humanity and the fight between angels and demons.
Sanctuary is a vast world, and there'll always be something new in every area, like hordes of enemies,
Water.
safe haven towns, resources to gather, events, quests, and more.
Art
We wanted
direction.
to bring Diablo 4 artistically more back towards like Diablo 2, the much darker style. It's very macabre.
Yes, thank you. First pause of the video. I'm so glad they're going back to Diablo 2, the vision of Diablo 2, where it's more of a dark fantasy than a dark fantasy, low fantasy versus in Diablo 3 they kind of shifted more to like Warcraft where it's more mid high fantasy. Um, and I really think Diablo shines as this, it's rated M, mature gore, more of a darker tone. I really do think that Diablo 2, I also like to relate Diablo 2 to, as if any of you guys have watched or played Castlevania games, it's like this apocalyptic, not future, past, or like what's just like the bubonic plague, right? Or this dark where everything's like, even though Sanctuary is the land of humans, it still feels like a hellscape, right? Um, this dark, grim fantasy world. And that's what I love. So I'm so glad they're going back to that.
The artists and designers have had so much fun working on it, and it's just been a joy to create for us.
How would the people of Sanctuary show their world? What kinds of art would they use to describe the world? One of the things we really wanted to do was make the game feel like a painting.
Everything was built
wow.
by a wonderful group of people.
Let's go back there. Feel like a painting. I've seen this image before, and I think they've posted this a few times. It's a beautiful image. It definitely gives you that what art style is this? Is this like Renaissance medieval, right? Um I think it goes past Renaissance. But very when Christianity had just started, they had depicted all these beautiful visions of prophets, Jesus, all of that stuff. And it was beautiful. Like, you can be religious or not, but that, it was an art style from a dark, grim time. Um, and I think it expanded from like, I think, right, 0 BC to like the 12th or 13th century, I think. But, that art style, that grim, people were fighting with swords, killing each other over stupid things, bunch of the Crusades, all that stuff. And I love it. I think this is what Diablo 4 should be about is, the whole story, Lilith and Arius. That's like there's bits and pieces of that. I'm not a religious person, but I know there's bits and pieces of, they took depictions of this to create the Diablo universe, right? So it kind of makes sense that they're kind of going back to this biblical, right, times. I think it's great. Anyways,
Feel like a painting.
Everything was built by a wonderful group of people.
Even the
who
art
love Diablo
looks
as
kind of
much
like it
as
has
we
a
do.
painted shade to it. Environments.
We have 5 unique zones.
Each of the regions has its own kind of flavor and ambient life.
We take a lot of influence from what our concept artists give us, and I know they take a lot
Those
of
are
influence
beautiful.
from real life.
Wish I could draw that well.
There's Kyrgyzstan, which is the sort of desert.
It's amazing
Desert
with
zone.
its sweeping sand dunes.
Skazglen, which is inspired
Skazglen.
by Scotland. Fractured Peaks is inspired
Oh,
by the
hold on a second. Skazglen, wait. Come on. That was a cool shot. I wanted to pause on this. I'll say out of the 5 zones, and let me know in the comments. I think Skazglen's going to be my favorite zone, and I think the reason is one, my first character is going to be a druid. The first character I ever played was a Diablo, and Diablo 2 was a druid. So I came during the expansion. Um, but look at that. That's beautiful. Um, and as you can see, Scotland's going to be kind of the I wouldn't say pirate, but kind of like marine zone, like the marine ocean, like wetlands. Um, as you can see, I think like undead, maybe undead pirates or like sailors that shipped to the sea and drowned, like drowned zombies or something. But anyways, I think this will be my favorite zone. Um, and look at that art; it's beautiful. Like that is such a cool. And I think with what they said about taking concepts from the real world, I actually prefer games that do that. And I know that's weird. It's like, oh, don't you want them to be creative? I guess it depends on the game, right? If you're going for this very high, very different fantasy, right, where you want it to be very unique, like, and I still think the Diablo universe is unique, but when I think of Diablo, I think of a universe that it could have been ours if demons existed, right? So, like, I think it's cool that, or demons, I mean, I know that doesn't make much sense, but like, to me, it's like Scotland, or, they're saying it's similar to Scotland. Um, when they take inspiration from a real place, it makes the world feel more real, right? Or at least to me, it does. Because then you can like, I don't know, you have a visualization of. I mean, I've never been to Scotland. I want to one day, but if you've been there, or you know the similar landscapes, and you can kind of match it to what it's going on in Diablo. And maybe I'm just BSing here, but I don't know. I think it's cool when worlds take influence and inspiration, even cultures from the real world, to kind of create their own version of it. Maybe a dark, twisted one for Diablo, right? Anyways,
Which is inspired by Scotland. Fractured Peaks is inspired by the Carpathian Mountains.
The Dry
I don't even know what
Steppes
the
is
Carpathian
sort of
Mountains
our
are.
mountainous
I should
desert
look that up.
region, and Hawazar is the swampy region of the south. Whether you're on a mount or on
Wait,
foot, it's the
I thought
swampy
this was
region of the
interesting.
south. Whether you're on a mount or on foot, it's a desert region.
So we have like it's interesting that they're doing two desert regions, right? Because the dry steppes and then what did they call it?
Amazing with its sweeping
Kazakhstan. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. But I guess that this one is more, I think, mountainous, and this one is like an actual desert, kind of like Woot Goem from Diablo 2. I'm guessing. Anyways, it's interesting they have
desert
two
region,
desert
and
mountains.
Hawazar is the swampy region of the south. Whether you're on a mount or on foot, it's a joy to go from one region to the next. Also, the region transitions are really beautiful and stunning to see.
Making sure that it felt sort of geologically true was really important. If you walk from Fractured Peaks into Hawazar, you'll cross all of these waterfalls caused by snowmelt. So you can actually see the snow melting in Fractured Peaks through waterfalls entering into Hawazar and
Oh
entering
wow,
the
that's
large
cool.
basin that fills Hawazar with all of the swamp water.
It gives you a lot of
We have all
immersion.
the different environments in the overworld, and
Swamp water.
Oop, let me go back
Sin
here.
that
I think that's great. I don't know. I don't play it. I haven't played a lot of open world games, but at least in Warcraft, right? When you transition from zone to zone, it's literally like you can tell the border divider, right? Because it goes from like blue mountains and grass to like desert, literally just in a in a textile texture. It just swaps. So I think this is great that like you literally are seeing the snow melt from the fractured peaks where they're up high, and I'm guessing when you go down to the wetlands, you're going down the mountain and you follow these. That's great. That's awesome. It almost makes it feel like I know they're trying to go. I mean, it's a big open world that doesn't change now. At least the open world part. The dungeons, I think, are still random. That's very cool.
Hawazar with all of the swamp water.
we have all the different environments in the overworld, and we tried to make sure there was some parity with those in the dungeons. We have dungeons that are flooded, and there's like moss everywhere. It very much fits in with that Skazglan environment. Kazakhstan is a
Well,
desert,
hold up,
so we
hold
have
up. Wait a
dungeons
second.
filled with Skazglan environment.
I think that is. Oh, and by the way, I'm trying this new pausing thing. Sometimes I've done the whole reaction, and then I'll go back. I'll backtrack. I thought this time I would pause during it. I'm just kind of changing it up and still a newer channel, so I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah. So this time I'm kind of pausing through it. So I guess let me know if you prefer me just to watch it and then backtrack when I do these type of videos, or if you like me pausing. Like maybe you've already watched this and you're just yeah. I'm kind of just pausing through it and talking about it. This isn't like a cinematic. In a cinematic, I kind of like to watch the whole thing, but this is kind of just talking about the world of Sanctuary. Anyways, the reason I paused, I do that. I lose track here. The reason I paused um, was I think this is one of the barbarian's ultimate abilities because I've read like I haven't seen a lot of the abilities, but I've read that one's like a big. It's like a bigger whirlwind. Like this is like a massive whirlwind attack. So cool. I don't think I've seen it yet. So hey, that's his big whirlwind
Kyrgyzstan is a
ability.
desert, so we have dungeons filled with sand. All the dungeons are particularly placed to make sure that they feel like
That's a
this
cool
is a
area.
thing that could be in this
Ooh,
part of the world. It fits here, it belongs here.
that was like a Harajic area. That was cool. That
We
was cool,
definitely
right?
redesigned some of the
Temple.
monsters. For example, the Fallen family has gone through a major redesign to make them
Fallen,
feel more
classic.
grim, a little
Those are
scarier, a
cool.
little darker, to match the tone of
They were
Diablo
bright
4.
red in Diablo 2.
Monster families are a way to describe the group of monsters that create a combat experience. So a lot of times there'll be brutes and swarmers, melee or casters, and that's the term that we use to sum up the
Synergy makes
vampires
sense.
or the drowned or the undead.
Oh,
And all of them have
whoa, whoa,
unique
whoa, whoa. That's cool. But I was actually looking at the drowned. What the heck? So I'm guessing the drowned. So right, I'm guessing these guys are in Skazglen. Kind of can tell piece of wood with barnacles. Actually, it looks like a mast from a ship. So that's really cool. Man, the textures and graphics are amazing on these models. Um, I will say I almost wish that Blizzard does a. I almost wish that Blizzard did a. What was I trying to say? Like a Dark Souls game where it's third person. You know, where you can zoom in onto your character. I think Diablo universe would be great in like a Dark Souls game where it's third person. You know, dodge and weave. You fight these big things and you can see them up close. Anyways, this gives me like a. I could see this guy being like a Dark Souls character. Um, it's awesome though. Maybe I don't play a bunch of games. It's just crazy to see Diablo's graphics
Or
get so
the
much
undead.
better.
And all of them have unique abilities, but they all synchronize together. They bolster each other and
That's good.
improve how they work on the battlefield so that every time you fight a pack of, let's say, goatmen, it's always different.
We wanted to make sure that the monster families all felt like they fit in their environments, and so our creature team did a really good job of making these different versions of them that have adapted to their environment. There's snowy goatmen and fractured peaks in some of the colder areas versus
Goatmen,
lightning goatmen
classic.
are in dry steppes and kind of
Wow.
the more arid areas.
Look at those guys.
Hawazar has a lot of the
Whoa,
poison
whoa.
spiders. Goatmen are in
Pausing
dry
again. Man, look at him. That is beautiful. I just was talking about the artwork, but look at that. That is crazy. Um, I recently just played, you know, Diablo Resurrected, and the graphics looked great there. But these are like totally different level. At least it feels like it. Like they have like they etched tattoos or markings onto them with a knife or something to like with blood. Man, that's beautiful. Actually, I'm gonna exit the video for a sec. Hold on, I know this is very different than most of my other ones. Diablo 2 Goatman. Oh yeah, Goatman. Okay, Goatman. Okay, I just wanted to compare here because I wanted to see the. Oh gosh, bunch of ads. Okay, can I zoom in here? Oh my god, get out of here. So that's Diablo 2's Goatman. That is wild. And it's basically been 20 years, right? Yeah, like 22 years. Man, the way the world of video games evolves so much, it's crazy. Anyways,
Some of the
that was
colder
cool. I
areas
just wanted to
versus lightning
compare.
goatmen are in dry steppes and kind of the more arid areas. Hawazar has a lot of the poison spiders.
Each of the regions has its own kind of flavor, and it's pretty exciting to discover.
We have some really cool new snake men, the Nangari. We've seen snake men in Diablo before, but these guys are just really twisted amalgamations of multiple snake heads, even human body parts. We have
Oh,
skeletons, we have undead, we have
Is that another world
ghosts.
boss?
All the things that you would expect to find from a Diablo game.
Spiders have been around.
I don't think we've seen this guy
Yeah.
before. I think that's. I mean, he's bigger. He might not be a world boss. Maybe just a boss.
Ghosts,
Not sure.
all the
That
things
was
you
cool.
would expect to find from a Diablo game.
Spiders have been around in Diablo forever, but the spider host was a cool new twist.
It's a giant spider that attaches to a corpse and then puppets it at you. And when you
We've.
kill it,
I think
it
we've seen.
explodes
They've
with
shown
tons
these,
of
but
baby
damn, look at
spiders,
that.
and
Let
then
me go back
attaches to
here. And all of its gory glory. God damn it! Oh, come on. Where'd it go? Okay. No, I want to. Whatever. Close enough. trying to get like a frontal picture of him. Um, I remember the last time they did a post with all these monsters and they showed these guys. These guys remind me of the. All right, I'm gonna do it one more time. Halo Flood, where it's like this parasite's attached to a body. Um, there's the Goatman again. Oh gosh, Halo Flood. Images. Yeah, like okay, look at this. Um, oh my gosh, it's not letting me zoom in, but you can kind of see, right? It's almost like this infected. Instead of a spider, it's like this infected thing over taking over a human's body, whereas this is like a spider eating off the head of a human's body. Anyways, they remind me of the Flood. That's all I
That
wanted to say.
attaches to
So
a
nostalgia
corpse
there.
and then puppets it at you. And when you kill it, it explodes with tons of baby spiders. And then those little
Nice.
spiders come after you. And I feel slightly guilty about traumatizing a lot of people with it.
We also have
hate
wildlife,
spiders.
deer, snakes, bugs, dogs. You can pet the dogs, by the way.
So many people ask to pet the dog.
That's
It's
cute.
actually
That's
a
fun.
lot of hard work
They've
to
added that in
figure out how to
like
pet the
Warcraft.
dang dog.
Exploration,
You
my
have so
favorite
many
part of video
activities
games.
that you might run into. It could be a stronghold, it could be side quests, you might have key dungeons to do, there could be bounties to pick up, you might encounter a world boss, you might encounter an invasion event of some kind.
We have much longer, sort of narrative heavy side quests, and we have some shorter side quests, so you never feel like you're always doing the same thing. The pacing is always a little bit different. One of the things that I really loved about our announcement was the By 3 They Come cinematic. I was able to build
Beautiful
a quest
cinematic.
where you actually get to go to those places. You get to go to the town. You get to go inside the chapel. And I work with some incredible
That's
dungeon
awesome.
designers to build the dungeon from the cinematic. You're gonna get to go
Wow.
across the bridge that you saw to the actual room where Lilith was summoned. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm super excited to have players see it.
Sometimes it's kind of
That is really cool. That's really neat. That I mean, like that was an iconic. I think everyone remembers that cinematic. I'm so excited for the rest of the rendered cinematics in Diablo 4. Um, I'm guessing there'll be one per act. So, and I guess there's 5 zones, 5 acts, so maybe 5 or 6 of those beautiful cinematics. But that is so cool that you get to go to that area. And I hope with the other cinematics too, I hope we get to go to wherever you have a cinematic, you'll remember it, or it's pretty more iconic, right? So feels better to go to what you're seeing and all its rendered glory. So I'm excited to check. I wonder what zone that's going to be in. I don't know.
nice to just
Anyways.
walk places because that's a lot of the times when you see these little events.
You might find a demonic altar that you need to feed your blood to summon demons to then defeat for all of their loot. You might find
Nice.
a ghost child who's trying to find the remains of their parents, and you have to protect them. We have
So this is an escort. Oh, I can't talk. Escort quest. Ew. I mean, it'll probably be a little faster paced in Diablo than in Warcraft.
the remains of their parents,
should be
and you have
fine.
to protect them. We have strongholds, which are a sort of large area that you can enter.
Oh, hold
and it has its
on.
own story, its own setup, and it has its own story holes, which are strongholds.
Oh man, this is Skazglen. Yeah, I can already tell you I'm gonna love Skazglen. God damn. And also the water looks great. Oh man, yeah, I'm excited to check out that zone.
Which are
Look at that.
a sort of
That's beautiful.
large area that you can enter, and it has its own story, its own setup, its own sort of art that sort of tells a very specific story about this location, and those stay unlocked permanently once you've beaten back the darkness.
We did a lot of figuring out the balance between like how much space do we need for players to play through these dungeons versus how much space do we need to make them look cool. My favorite is this one called Endless Gates. It's got these teleporters, and these teleporters actually take you to other dungeons, so you'll end up in a cave, a crypt, or one of
That
the
is
ancients.
cool.
And every time you go in, it's designed to change.
I mean, that's cool, but at the same time, I'm like, I think that you're just going to other dungeons, so it's basically like they have a lot of dungeons, so I can't complain. But that's kind of you're just kind of making one dungeon where you teleport to other dungeons. It's kind of like a quick way to make a dungeon, right? I don't know.
There's
Whatever.
dozens of
Kinda cool.
villages and towns that you will run into.
The cities and towns are designed to be hubs. They're havens. They're places where you can find other players. They're
That's
good
cool.
places to
I'm
do
excited
all of
for
your
that.
usual inventory management.
Each region has its main city that you can get lots of side quests and lots of activities.
We've really crafted the world to feel like there's always something just around the corner to find. In Diablo 4, you actually get
Before we go to the next part here, I am super psyched about the where it's more of an open world. Like I know it makes sense when you're out on your own to not see a lot of people, but in cities, why not? You should see up to 20 people, right? I don't know. You're in a city just hanging out. It's not like you're killing stuff. And I wonder how many of these they'll have. I wonder if it's just one big. I'm guessing it's going to be one big city per zone, so there'll be 5 big cities. Maybe it'll be little ones for like where you can just sell stuff. But I'm guessing there's only going to be 5 major cities. I don't know. But I'm excited for these. I think that's cool. I am all for making this as close to an MMO as you can. Um I love action RPGs, but I still think they can take as many. I think open world, yes, but even more so than that is just seeing other players. And I know it makes sense to not be like an MMO in the sense that you see hundreds of players, because then it would kind of defeat the purpose of, I don't know, this dark, desolate world where, I don't know. It just makes more sense to not see as many people, but I still think it's good to
Lots of
see
side
some
quests and
people.
lots of activities.
We've really crafted the world to feel like there's always something just around the corner to find. In Diablo
Discovery.
4, you actually get to walk Sanctuary.
It's a massive place that you can seamlessly explore with no loading in between zones, which
I love
is
it.
something brand new.
Hate
It's
loading
a
screens.
very immersive experience.
What I love about it is that you can go in a direction and you might be searching for a particular quest or an item, and you'll come across a stronghold that you haven't explored before. You'll come across dungeons that have legendary affixes, or you might discover a side quest that you didn't even know about that fills in some bit of lore that you actually were interested in. There's any number of things that can happen.
I do every
along
side
the
quest
road
in
to your
games. I think
destination,
those
and that's
are
what I
sometimes more
love
interesting
about
than the
having
main
this
quest.
fast-paced.
There are tons of different types of events in the world. It's been created to feel full of things to encounter, full of secrets to discover, full of characters to interact with, full of stories to find. We have these encounter full of secrets to discover, full of characters to
That's a big boy. Is that a rhino or a big pig with tusks or like a boar? I just keep
interact with, full of
noticing pretty
stories
well.
to find.
Interesting.
We have these altars to Lilith that if you can find them, they will give you a permanent buff to all of your characters across the game. There are tons of them hidden everywhere. We also have these massive world bosses that are so big the camera actually has to pull out even further. And you're
We
going
knew
to
about
have
these.
an opportunity to fight these bosses with your friends or with strangers to take down these huge world bosses.
That's pretty cool. I'm
The
all
team
for
has done
those
just
too.
an incredible
That's fun.
job making Sanctuary a world worth exploring and a world worth investing yourself in.
Beta's almost here. Very cool. Very cool. Um, that was fun. This was a cool video. I like this a lot. This was kind of like this is up my alley. Like I know it wasn't about combat or like end game, but hey, as I've said this a few times, but I'm actually more like I like to play the end game a lot too. Don't get me wrong, but if I'm not immersed into a game, it's not a fun game to me. The whole point for me, at least in video games, is to kind of teleport myself into the game and pretend I'm in this dark, like we talked about at the beginning, dark fantasy world, Diablo. So, them talking about art, discovery, and I love the collection discovery part of games too. So that's great that they're kind of adding that into Diablo. Like collecting stuff, unlocking certain things by just exploring the world is great. But this video is really talking about all the stuff that's my jam, the art, where they got their inspiration for these zones. Um, yeah, this was a great video. And this was fun to kind of talk about. Yeah, let me know if you liked me pausing through it. If I don't mind doing it either way, where I pause through the whole thing, pause and just give my thoughts on certain things, or if I should watch the whole thing through and then backtrack and go through stuff. But yeah, beta is very close, guys. I'm so excited. Like, I mean, I said that like a couple days ago, but anyways, um, I'm super excited for beta, and I'm excited, and I'll be posting another Diablo video on either February 28th or not the 29th, February or March 1st, with the news that we get from that streaming or live. Why can't I think of the word live broadcast they're going to do? So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this little, I guess, breakdown reaction to the World of Sanctuary video. Very cool, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.